Part 373. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3721. Why did it suddenly become like this? Fang Fan felt that his brain was about to burst. What is it? Mess around. This is not over yet, is it? Bai Piao was gnawing on the prepared barbecue and melon seeds, watching the play with excitement. Fight! 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 The backyard is on fire. Ahahahaha. It's really not easy to see Fang Fan deflated once. Stimulation, this is really stimulation. Go on. Don't be cowardly. Be quicker. Yes. That's it. Take off. Tisk, interesting. Bai Piao swayed his body from side to side, nodding frequently while talking. Okay, stop making trouble. Lena and I have some special connection, but it's not the kind of relationship you think, don't think about it. Lena, this is my wife, don't beat me to death. Fang Fan glanced at Chu Sisi and Lena, and then both of them spoke. Special connection. Okay, sure enough, you admit it now. Don't keep hiding it now. You are all like this now, what else can it be? She keeps calling you God, God Lord, or something. Could it be that you are really some God Master? It's clear that you will have adultery tomorrow. Chu Sisi speaks quickly, so she is well founded. It turns out that women have basically zero sanity in this matter. No matter how magnanimous a woman looks, she will slowly develop a jealousy. In fact, if you really have no desires, no jealousy at all, maybe this woman doesn't care about you. Holding an indifferent attitude towards everything about you is naturally not what you want to see. At the moment, it feels more real. As stable as Mount Tai. Thoughts are messy, ideas take off. God Lord, is she your wife? Is she the godmother? I was actually rude to the godmother. Your Majesty, I should kill myself. Lena turned pale, and then made a gesture and thrust the weapon in her hand towards her chest. Fortunately, Fang Fan's speed was a little faster, so he stopped him. Everyone on the side was also stunned, including Chu Sisi, who looked dumbfounded at the moment. What is this operation? I don't understand, don't you understand? Invisibly, a sense of delusion was born. It's too delusional. Opening his mouth at this moment, his whole body went numb. How come? This. Where is this? Why are you going to kill yourself? Look, it doesn't look like a fake. Why is this? Oh my God. What do you think of this? This is too scary. Chu Sisi looked incomprehensible. Fang Fan pondered silently. He was taken aback just now. Then he sighed silently. Some things are hard to say, really hard to say. These are the most sincere believers in the so-called origami. They have their own firm beliefs, and they trust the Rage God unconditionally. They feel that everything about them belongs to the God they are loyal to. Such thinking has been instilled in their minds since they were young. How can they change it directly for a while? Difficult to go to the blue sky. These gaudy feelings gathered in my mind, making me feel even more numb. In the future, without my order, you are not allowed to do things that hurt yourself. Faith can exist, but it's not a perverted version like yours. Fang Fan looked at Lena, then said indifferently. In the words, many things have been expressed clearly. I thought it was, the God Lord had a problem with me. So I shouldn't live in this world. My life, my body, everything about me belongs to God. There is light in Lena's eyes. The light gradually diffused, as if completely illuminating the surrounding area. While speaking, thoughts rose, and the rosy color on his face also increased. At that moment, his body was trembling slightly, his lips couldn't help licking, and the most real thoughts in his heart were spinning wildly. At any moment, cherish your own life. We are a normal organization. I don't need a crazy believer. What I need is a normal person. Can you understand? You need to make a shift. This is also my order to you. Fang Fan looked at Lena's beautiful face and sighed slightly. When communicating with Lena, I always feel like communicating with a robot. A lot of her thinking is too fixed. In many cases, insist on some very rigid truth. Facts have proved that these rigid truths are worthless. But even so, he continued to persevere. The power of faith is too terrifying. Yes, yes, Your Majesty the Lord. What you say, Lena obeys. Lena blinked, her thoughts didn't fluctuate at all. As long as it is the name of the God Lord, obey it. Besides, don't call me God Master God or something like that in the future, just change your name. Fang Fan rubbed his head, then sighed softly. Is this not loud enough? There is a person who calls you the God Lord every day, this pretense is indeed a little too much. Therefore, be more peaceful. Ah. Then what's my name? Can I call you husband? Lena blinked, and then looked at Xiangfei and Chu Sisi. That's what Xiangfei and Chu Sisi called Fang Fan at that time, and Lena just heard it. Okay. This is always solid evidence, right? My husband has called out. You just say you did what you did at your age, why do you have to lie to me? I won't do anything to you. Am I some tigress? Don't lie to me. You didn't tell the truth to me. Chu Sisi gritted her silver teeth, then looked at Fang Fan, and now she really blamed Fang Fan in her heart. It's a bit messy right now. Fang Fan is now a mute who eats coptis, and he can't speak. Does Lena not understand, or is she just playing dumb? Just call me Lord from now on. Fang Fan shrugged and quickly settled the matter. Otherwise, I don't know what will happen next. Too difficult. My thoughts are completely messed up. A sense of bells and whistles, taking off. That's pretty much it? Can pull a hammer, nothing. Master. Good sir. Lena blinked and nodded, her face still looked a little cold. She can only show some smiles when facing Fang Fan. But those smiling faces were only fleeting, and then they turned into an iceberg posture. Extreme Holy Venerable. Are you the Supreme Saint? Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3722. Fang Fan glanced at Lena, and then said in surprise. I thought I just found a random follower of the desolate race, or a goddess of the desolate race, but I didn't expect her cultivation to be so high. With such a high level of cultivation, why was he arrested? It's too messy. Unless it is a demigod who makes a move, there is absolutely no way to capture you. Have you encountered a demigod? How did you get here? Fang Fan asked curiously. This is indeed a bit different from the long-term expectations. Interesting, really interesting. How to play next is the most important thing. Thoughts were flying for a while. The fun in it swells. No. I entered the cage voluntarily. Lena said seriously. Fang Fan. Why? Volunteer. You still have this habit. Fang Fan glanced at Lena with a bewildered expression. Entering the cage, is it fun? I feel the Lord God, it is the call of the Lord, so I came here following your will, the Lord. All of this is arranged in the dark. I waited here for 7 days and 7 nights, and finally the Lord came. Lena said solemnly, she didn't seem to be lying at all. To be precise, there was no lying at all. Really, all true. Although the thoughts are messy, the feeling is so real. Feel my call. then voluntarily entered the cage. Is there such a mystery? Fang Fan looked up at the ceiling of the Hall of Merit, feeling the chill behind him for no reason. How many messy things are hidden in this invisible thoughts, completely messed up. A wave of bells and whistles. Play. It's all for fun. This taste is nothing. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, his brows were furrowed, and his expression fluttered silently. I can't find out what's going on with this question. Anyway, just one sentence, there are arrangements in the dark. If she continued to ask, Lena would ask back, didn't the Lord arrange these? What can Fang Fan say? Everything that could be said was blocked. Too difficult. Those chaotic thoughts in the brain are constantly spinning around. The brains are about to explode directly. His thoughts were messed up, his expression was abrupt, and he didn't know what to say. Mess. It's all a mess. Master Ji Lan, exchange her for me, offset part of the contribution points, and replace all the rest with fragments of the God Stone. Fang Fan looked at Ji Lan and subconsciously said. But at this moment, Ji Ian's state is not right, and he is stunned. Ah. Yes. Good. Etc. Little friend Fang Fan, tell me honestly, are you a real god descended into the world? This woman has been calling you God Lord just now. This is the existence of the Supreme Holy State, and it is absolutely impossible for ordinary people to make her succumb. Unless Fang Fan, you are really a god. Gudong. Could it be, is all this true? Oh my god. In the end, what have I experienced? This is too scary. Ji Lan, the master of the Hall of Merit, the dean of the Tianwu Academy, and the city lord of the God City of the 7th Academy, stared wide-eyed. The blush on his face became more and more obvious as he spoke. Fang Fan. Fang Fan gave a wry smile. Too difficult. Another explanation. The point is that this matter has been explained, and this F***ck can't be explained. What the hell is going on? Thoughts are already messed up. Master Ji Lan, do you believe this kind of joke? Joke. It's really just a joke. Why bother? Fang Fan gave a wry smile, ready to prevaricate. No. If this is put on other people, it is definitely a joke. Even if he admits that he is a real god and a false god, I don't believe it. But this matter is different for you, Fang Fan. Gudong. Fang Fan, if you are really a true god, I have always called you Xiao. Isn't it too disrespectful? Fang Fan, you don't want to take this opportunity to kill me, do you? Oh my god. No, do not want. Ji Ian's face was panic-stricken, and she suddenly became more active, with a look of horror. This taste is not good, it is really not good. Can you think a little more? Don't bullshit, okay? If I were a true god, do you think I would still be talking to you here? Stay safe. Fang Fan's face was dark. WTF? Hurry up and exchange the God Stone fragments for me. Fang Fan urged. I can't stay here anymore. Ji Ian's eyes could not wait to stare at him, as if they were directly attached to him. That taste, that feeling, it's amazing. I can't stay here any longer, otherwise Ji Lan doesn't know what to ask. Too messy. Alright. Then I will do the calculation. The price of this female slave is almost 1 million contribution points. Then, are the 4 million contribution points sure to be replaced with God Stone fragments? Ji Lan cautiously asked. He still hoped that Fang Fan could stay here longer, so that he could have more news. He still has a lot of things he wants to ask Fang Fan face to face. On the other hand, he felt that it would be a bit of a loss to directly exchange these precious contribution points for star cores or God Stone fragments. With so many treasures, Why not just fall in love with them? Who can say for sure about this kind of thing? Just change it? Fang Fan said firmly. In the end, 5 million contribution points were successfully exchanged for a Lina of the Supreme Saint Realm and fragments of the 40,000 God Stone. Before leaving, the Master Ji-Lan had a look of reluctance. Little friend Fang Fan. Otherwise, let's talk about it again. How about a light meal? Look, I still have a lot of questions I want to discuss with you. Hey, the old man thinks that little friend Fang Fan can learn from everything. It's different, it's really different. Young friend Fang Fan, you are very human. Ji-Lan rubbed her hands together with an excited expression on her face. Those cloudy eyes wanted to see through Fang Fan directly. It seems that he wants to see through Fang Fan's essence, see Fang Fan's original heart, and then expand it bit by bit. This time the taste, but also with whom to tell. Very special and very unique. Thousands of thoughts, messy thoughts, completely fluttering. Fang Fan made a fool of himself and ran away. The question that the Lord Ji-Lan likes to ask most is, Fang Fan, are you sure you are not a real god? How to answer this question? The answer is instant fire. The answer was no, and he continued to ask endlessly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3723. If you can't bear it, just run away. This is the most real. The rest of those who have nothing are directly suppressed and are nothing. It's useless to talk so much. In terms of mentality, be steady and go straight. Walk out of the Hall of Merit and go straight to the station of Guangming Academy in the city. At this moment, Ji-Lan stood behind and watched. Why? After all, I still haven't asked. However, one thing that is certain is that even if this little friend Fang Fan is not a true god, he probably has something to do with the true god. It is absolutely impossible for a normal proud son of heaven to achieve this level. That invincible giant cannon, and the blessings of Goddess Athena's crown, and even the phantom under the crown of Goddess Athena actively kissed Fang Fan. In addition, Lina, the female slave of the Supreme Saint Realm, has been calling Fang Fan as the Lord of God. A lot of this has come out very real. It's true, it's all true. I see. It's my luck, Ji-Lan, to meet little friend Fang Fan in this life. Ji-Lan murmured to herself, with the corners of her mouth slightly raised, her thoughts gradually becoming chaotic. At this moment, not far from the Hall of Merit and Merit, a group of people quietly settled down. Father. As for what? Fang Fan is there, so we can't go there. Grass. What's the point of this? Are we all cowardly now? Oh shit. Is this too embarrassing? Afraid of a hammer, just go up and do it? This bastard, what's the matter? What a humming embarrassment. Cao Man, the young lord of Guangming God City, turned red and couldn't help roaring crazily. While talking, his face became more and more ugly. Grinding his teeth at this moment, his thoughts gradually became chaotic, and his heart suddenly burst to the extreme. The more I thought about it, the more unhappy I became, and my face became more and more ugly. The heart of a young man is originally on fire. How can you casually say that it doesn't matter? This obviously doesn't exist. There is still a lot of anger in my heart. The more I think about it, the more abrupt my eyes become. That's probably what happened. Sincere, and true. Ah. If I hadn't taken you with me, I would have gone up to say hello. Do not understand anything. Snort. Take you up to say hello to Fang Fan, you bastard is bound to mess me up. At that time, it will only make the relationship between each other more rigid. This Fang Fan has already taken off like a dragon leaping into the deep sea. In the future, don't do things casually. I can't do it, I can't do it either. After talking so much, you don't understand anything. Why? Having raised such a useless son like you, why shouldn't labor and management pay you more attention? Cao Tang, the lord of Guangming God City, shook his head and couldn't help but sighed softly. Too difficult. All kinds of thoughts gathered in his mind, his eyes were numb, his expression was indifferent, and he was nothing. In this case, we still need to calm down a little bit. But if something happens, I can't stand it. Father, I think you were completely frightened by that Fang Fan. Is it that powerful? Really are. Isn't he just a young student of Guangming Academy? The background is astounding, that is, Shui Wanren, the deputy head of the Guangming Academy. What's the matter? Isn't that still under your command? You are the city lord of the Guangming God City, and that Shui Wanren is just a deputy city lord. Furthermore, now this Fang Fan doesn't even give Wang disciple the face of a first-class saint, and he has long been jealous of Wang saint. Oh! His future and destiny have been completely destroyed long ago. Such an existence, worry. Fear. It's nothing. I really don't know what to say. In the face of such a situation, you don't need to have any attitude. Wait a few days and die if you don't move. If we can help Lord Wang, we can also get a favor from Lord Saint. Bring. Why are you dodging here? A muttering voice came, and the voice of emotion gathered in all directions. While speaking, his brows were furrowed, and his expression changed abruptly. This time, his eyes fluttered and his thoughts were extremely messy. All kinds of thoughts in my mind gradually increased. It's messy, complicated. A wave of bells and whistles. Cao Man clenched his fists, feeling unhappy. He felt that he had met an extremely useless father, and he had become useless with him. This matter is going on and on, as for it? Talking about calf is full of energy. Really speechless. Damn thing. It's all dog stuff. Anyway, I was very upset in my heart, and it was not a good taste. I don't care what your attitude is, I just warn you. Don't provoke Fang Fan. Even if he slaps you now, you have to endure it. If you dare to continue to be arrogant, I will sever the father-son relationship with you. You can go away, don't drag me to die together. You said Wang Tu just now. Ha. He. How about Wang Tu? Is he strong enough? The president of the light camp is still a strong demigod. He is a first-class saint in the temple. One person is below 10,000. But so what? In front of that Fang Fan, don't you still feel deflated again and again? Also, that Fang Fan brought back the heads of 2 quasi-demigods and a head of a weak demigod. Protoss cultivators are more powerful. The weak demigods can now fight against the strong demigods of our allies. But such a powerful Protoss was still killed by Fang Fan. And the heads were all cut off and brought back. These things are all in front of us. How? Have you not understood? It's all said so clearly. Or are you pretending to be deaf and dumb? Let's not talk about it, let's talk about that Ji Lan, the Dean of Tianwu Academy and the City Lord of the 7th Academy. Is he a fool? The reason why he flatters Fang Fan is because he sees Fang Fan's potential. It was a bit far from the ground just now, and I couldn't hear it very clearly, but I also heard some gods and gods. There is Wang Jia behind Fang Fan. He has a true god as his backer. What do you have? Fight him. This situation has been established from the beginning. Do you still want to follow suit? Damn thing. Even if you have more unhappiness in your heart, we can't intervene in this matter. At most, it's just tricking some idiots into taking revenge. Always be wise and wise. Your father and I have eaten more salt than you have eaten chicken. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3724. Cao Tang, the lord of Guangming God City, frowned, and gradually spoke more and more words. While speaking, I couldn't help but start panting. All kinds of thoughts in my mind gradually piled up. Very real and very clear. That's pretty much what happened. Cao man's face was dark, looking like he was about to fight. Even if you can understand, don't listen. Shame on me. I lost all my face. What else is there to fuss about? The mentality collapsed, nothing. One takes a breath, and if the breath is gone, nothing will happen. The surrounding arguments gradually increased, but slowly fell into silence. Back at the residence, Shui Wanren, the deputy head of the palace, was not seen. Gone. Going to the Allied military conference. This guy represents our Guangming Academy. So whenever something happens, you have to go to some meeting. Snort. I'm too lazy to go to such a rubbish meeting. Let me go, I won't go. It doesn't make sense at all. Nothing. Tai Shiji's face was dark, and he couldn't help complaining from the side. While talking, the corners of his mouth twitched, all kinds of thoughts gathered in his heart, and his thoughts became more chaotic. Mess. Extremely messy. Who messed with my master? Fang Fan raised his eyebrows and walked over, then smiled. He, originally wanted to go to this military meeting to see, but they thought he was not a demigod, so they stopped him. So this heart is on fire. Wu Meiling, deputy head of Guangming Academy, shook her head, and couldn't help but sighed softly. Just this matter, I was immediately annoyed. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but this thing hurts my self-esteem a bit, and I must be a little bit unbearable in my heart. I couldn't help gnashing my teeth, my thoughts were messed up. What do you woman know? Is my Uncle G such a superficial person? Why did I go to the military meeting? Don't I mainly want to hear about the next deployment and plan? Why? Shui Wanren is more than calm, but not angry enough. If someone directly makes troubles at the military meeting, I'm afraid he will just accept it. When the order comes down, the unlucky ones will be all of us in Guangming Academy. I used to give Shui Wanren courage. Tai Shija always has his own excuses. While talking at the moment, I couldn't help but continue to mutter. There are still many wonderful ideas in my heart. It's been so long, it's not right. This girl is a bit unfamiliar. But she looks really handsome. Teacher, you have recruited another one. Tai Shija saw Lena, and couldn't help but see a bright light at the moment. My apprentice has long been invincible. With such a style, who would dare to make troubles on the sidelines? Invincible in the moment. That's how strong it is. Who else dares to compare with it? No way, nothing. Master, don't talk nonsense. This is just a subordinate I just accepted. Fang Fan saw the excited look on Tai Shiji's face, and couldn't help explaining from the side. What? Subordinate? Ah. Can you escape my eyes with this trick? Laughing to death. Thinking too much. You are my apprentice, what kind of you are, can the master not know? After all, I cultivated it myself. Why? The girl dolls next to you are as beautiful as the other. And it's interesting to compete one by one. Your boy is very lucky. Why? I wish I had half of you enlightened as a teacher back then. Tai Shija was deeply moved, and his eyes raised as he spoke. The more he spoke, the more excited he became, and the more he spoke, the more excited he became. As a man, when he thinks about his past, he can't help but want to brag. Anyway, it must be to give yourself a boost. When speaking, the eyes are full of wonderful colors. Hee hee. How? Looking at your tone, you're quite envious. How? Does our necromancer want to start his second spring? Ah. Do you want to stage a scene where an old cow eats young grass? You old bastard. You are so shameless. You only have those messy things in your head all day long. WTF. Really are. The older you get, the less serious you get. I'm telling you Taishuja, if you don't think about it, then write something. What does this have to do with you? Ah. Gossip all day long. Wu Meiling, the deputy head of the Guangming Academy, stared directly at Taishuja, and then came up with a burst of digging. Taishuji gave a wry smile at this moment, and could only bear it silently from the sidelines. As Wu Meiling and Taishuja have fought together on the battlefield more and more times, the current relationship between the two can be described as rapid progress. This relationship has already reached the most intimate level. Don't look at Taishuji's bluffing in front of outsiders, but in fact, if he really wants to pull his face off, it's just like that, and the feeling is not very strong. Thoughts gradually swelled and fluttered. Unlimited taste. I understood instantly. Good feeling. Isn't this the second spring of reopening? Why? One thing drops one thing. It seems that my cheap master will not be able to sneer everywhere in the future. Fang Fan raised his head and glanced at the distance, then smiled inexplicably. That's really interesting. Interest is constantly superimposed. Interesting, really interesting. Thoughts are flying, ideas are boiling. Why? One by one, they are in pairs. It's all right now, even master is in pairs. How does this thing work? It's all about the gaudy waves? Pity. It's messy. It's not interesting anymore. I'm alone. I miss my girl. Bai Piao tilted his head, with a look of changing minds, and when he spoke, there were endless sparkles in his eyes, and he seemed quite looking forward to it. I didn't expect this guy to be a passionate seed. In the past, Fang Fan always thought that Bai Piao lacked such blind affection for women, and this emotional world was not so complete. Now it seems that this feeling has now been made up. Emotions are really hard to talk about. Or let you go to the small world to play. How many days will you stay in there? Fang Fan looked at Bai Piao and asked immediately. Bai Piao's eyes gradually brightened. Good. This is good. Hey hey. Boy Fang Fan, it has to be you. Why? It's still you who understand me and what I think in my heart. Fang Fan boy, what, can you give me some supernatural power in the small world? Then when I go to the small world, I will be the strongest among the night elves. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3725. Bai Piao's small thoughts increased again. This guy clearly has no good intentions. All I think about in my head are those fancy things. Now they still want to use power to fully oppress the night elves? As long as he can come to the night elves with the posture of a so-called god, who would dare not follow which female elf of the night elves he wants? By then the picture was already clear. You think too much. If you really like that girl, you can pursue it by your own ability. Those who engage in fraud will only tarnish this pure feeling. Hey, at that time, there will be impurities in this relationship. Maybe it doesn't matter at the beginning, but after a long time, this impurity will grow wildly. At that time, there will only be a road of no return. I said, do you understand? Fang Fan looked at Bai Piao, and persuaded him earnestly that he had to make this matter clear. Not understand? What do you mean? Good guy. Fang Fan, you are a double standard dog. And the double standard is serious, isn't it? Fancy bells and whistles. Didn't you lie to yourself that you were a true god when you took care of the lady of Tianlin City? When it comes to you, this deceit can make a good relationship, but when it comes to me, it's nothing. Is there such a thing? Fang Fan boy, you are shameless. Bai Biao gritted his teeth, and couldn't help criticizing wildly from the side. The more she talked, the more excited she became, and the more she talked, the more obvious the gleam in her eyes became. After thinking about it, the words seem especially real. A wave, take off. That's it? Quite interesting. Squeeze in place, fully surging. This moment, that moment. The situation was urgent. You are different. Go to the small world and pursue your beloved. Don't bullshit. Fang Fan pouted, and directly pulled Bai Biao into it. Taking advantage of the fragments of the sacred stone in his hand, Fang Fan planned to fully upgrade the middle-level holy level ruling one-horned holy beast army to the high-level holy level. This wave of rhythm must be fully grasped, and there must be no slack in the slightest. That's what matters right now. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, his thoughts gradually became confused. Previously, the other 9 legions had been promoted to the high-level Saint Realm, but the Judgment Unicorn Sacred Beast Legion was left behind. Now, it can just be pulled in place in one wave. As stable as Mount Tai. Choose to be promoted to the middle-level Saint-level ruling Unicorn Holy Beast Army. Ding. Choose to be promoted successfully. Ding. Consuming 110,000 sacred stone fragments, we successfully purchased 1.1 billion exclusive promotion cards for the holy rank, and the mid-level holy state ruled the one-horned holy beast army to be successfully promoted to the high-level holy state. One wave, as stable as Mount Tai. The top 10 legions are all high-level saints. The next step is to fully promote the Supreme Saint Venerable Realm. If you want to be promoted in an all-round way, you need more than 10 million God Stone fragments. This is an astronomical figure. Although it is said that the treasures looted from the inner treasury of the Lord's Mansion of Tianlin City of the Protoss are not small, even worth tens of millions of fragments of divine stones. But there is still a gap between the value of so many God Stone fragments and being able to get these God Stone fragments. The value belongs to the value, but whether this thing can be turned into a real star core and God Stone fragments is the most important thing. The amount is too large, and it won't be able to get out for a while. Why? This is the fundamental. The current situation is a bit complicated. Fang Fan shook his head and couldn't help but sigh softly. Not to mention anything else, even if the light, darkness, and neutral camps are all emptied, can they take out more than 10 million God Stone fragments? That Wang apprentice is not bad, is he? As the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, and the president of the Light Camp, he is very strong in terms of qualifications. But so what? The situation is all there, and the formalized things are too real. Even if it is such an existence, it can only take out tens of thousands of fragments of the God Stone, and it is an extremely difficult kind. If you want to capture more God Stone fragments and star cores, the key point is still in the Protoss. This time, only the internal treasury of the Lord's Mansion of Tianlin City of the Protoss was looted. What about the warehouse of Tianlin City? Maybe there will be more gains. Moreover, this is just a city of the Protoss. Although the upper cities of the Protoss are rare, there are quite a few of them. Add those messy midtowns and small towns, and that's even more. The fragments of the Divine Stone are right there, who wouldn't be tempted? Fang Fan licked his lips, his eyes flickered suddenly, and his thoughts gradually became confused. What is about to happen in the future will be even more exciting and exciting. At that time, it will be fully fluttering. Lots of fun. Decide and develop slowly. Why? There are people out there, and there are people out there. If I have been hiding in Guangming Academy before, I think my cultivation level is almost enough. After all, demigods can't come out, no one wants to be presumptuous in front of me, and there are not many demigods in Guangming Academy. But now here at the Protoss, everything has changed. Holy Venerable Supreme. Holy Venerable Supreme is a hammer, no one cares about this thing at all. Sadly. Why? The next road, how do we go? I always feel that it is full of all kinds of thorns and ups and downs. The road ahead keeps getting blocked and blocked. Fighting against the Protoss, I can't do what I want. Maybe it won't take long to be eliminated. If you can be promoted to demigod. Why? Sitting on the seat, Grand Uncle G couldn't help but began to sigh. While speaking, his eyes scanned the distant sky. The more I think about it, the more melancholy my thoughts become. Although the great Uncle G usually looks carefree and doesn't care much about many things, he is more concerned about specific matters. Especially after several battles with the Protoss, Tai Shuju really felt his own shortcomings, so he wanted to change. But it is not so easy to change now. It's difficult, let alone tell who. Demigod. That is the strongest level at the moment. How many people dream of the realm? Among the Protoss, a demigod can immediately become a third-class general. Others will respectfully call you Master God General. In the Temple of the Alliance of Light, a demigod can immediately become a third-class saint, and others will respectfully call you a saint. Under the demigod, they are all ants. The full-scale battle between the Protoss and the Allied forces, it seems that both sides have sent many troops. The Protoss has nearly 1 million, and the Allied forces have tens of millions. But in the final analysis, it is still a full-scale confrontation between demigods. Whichever side has more demigods and higher quality, will have an absolute advantage. Every demigod is a powerful weight on both sides of the balance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3726. Everyone can see Taishiji's desire to be promoted to a demigod. It's just that this kind of thing can't be done if you want to. There are indeed many things involved here. If you can't stand still, you will be in chaos. Why? The bottleneck of this demigod realm is too scary. I feel like I can't see the end at a glance. However, a despicable villain like Caog who is greedy for life and afraid of death can usher in the demigod thunder tribulation, and even successfully survive the promotion of demigod. Why can't I? Underestimate me. Oh shit. What the hell is wrong with this? Big fancy. Play around. The mentality is broken. This thing is really hip pull. Taishuji couldn't help complaining again. As he was talking, he couldn't help but look at Wu Meiling, the deputy head of Guangming Academy. Meiling, how did you break into the demigod realm? Hey, tell me, teach me the teaching experience. When I get promoted and become stronger, I can protect you better. Uncle G raised his eyebrows, and he spoke sweet words easily. Apparently, the old guy has gone bad now. Gradually became fancy. Many thoughts gathered in the heart, and the brain was buzzing. At that time, it was also a coincidence that I touched the bottleneck of the demigod. It's like this after I wake up from sleep. As for what you asked me to say, I still, really don't understand. It feels very strange. For it. I don't know why. Wu Meiling, deputy head of Guangming Academy, blinked, and her eyes fluttered involuntarily as she spoke. Deep in the mind, these feelings also increased. Invisibly, it seemed very numb. Unusual, it does feel unusual. Why? Say it is the same as not saying it. Why is it so difficult to stab? I don't believe it anymore. What else can stop my great Uncle G? Uncle G hummed a few times, and his fighting spirit rose again. The Supreme Military Council, which is affiliated with the three-party Allied forces, has been open for 2 days. 2 days later, Shui Wanren came back with a tired face. The crowd swarmed over. Taishaji spoke first. What's the situation? Are you ready? How did you arrange it? What's the situation? Say something. Can we go straight back? Why? It's not like that to stay in this Yuanqi God City all the time. In Guangming God City, we still have a den at any rate. Grand Uncle G blinked, then sighed from the sidelines, his eyes raised as he spoke, his expression changed unpredictably, his thoughts gradually became chaotic, and various thoughts gradually increased. Wait for now. According to the results of the meeting, it is not possible to leave now. Now the main thing is to guard against the counter-attack of the Protoss. The information Fang Fan brought back was very important, and I also reported it. This is the key to the key. Now those people know that the Protoss army that attacked this time is just a city of the Protoss. And there are several cities like this among the Protoss. In this case, they naturally panicked and almost ran away. But after all, I still can't let go of this benefit. Cultivating on the territory of the sacred land, the speed of cultivation is extremely fast. Why? It's easy to go from frugal to extravagant, but hard to go from extravagant to frugal. Now this heart has become swaying, how can I control the other things? I'm afraid I already have nothing to fear in my heart. At the moment of interest, it is natural to choose a full-scale risk, which is normal. Shui Wanren nodded, and then sighed from the side. Between the words, the eyes flickered with brilliance, his thoughts gradually became messy, and his feelings gradually increased a lot. The current situation seems quite chaotic, because the existence of the Protoss, the situation has not yet become clear. So, we have to keep defending the Yuanqi God City. There are so many people gathered here. Although the aura here is abundant, it is difficult to supply the cultivation of so many strong people. Isn't this a little hasty? Fang Fan murmured, and couldn't help reminding. I always thought there was something wrong with it. According to the normal rhythm, it shouldn't be like this. According to the highest instruction, half of the troops of each camp will stay here. If we Guangming Academy, we have to stay half of it. The remaining half can go back, but once the Protoss army attacks, we must rush to help as soon as possible. If you want to go back, go back. Anyway, this is also an opportunity. Shui Wanren groaned, and then continued from the side. Relatively speaking, the current situation is quite urgent. All the spiritual power must be gathered in place. The mentality must be fully stabilized, and there must be no slack in the slightest. This is the most important thing. Go back. Teacher, you go back. Take a few of your confidant back home. Here, I'll suppress it. Grand Uncle G waved his hand, and then said calmly to Fang Fan. Leave the suffering to yourself, and your apprentice will hurt yourself. Fang Fan remained silent, and his thoughts gradually increased. In the end, do you want to go back? What can I do when I go back? Practice. The key is that Fang Fan's way has never been cultivation. If the buff is not stuck, the road to cultivation has long been stuck. Besides, if you go back, you won't be able to get any fragments of the Star Core Divine Stone. If you are in Yuanqi God City, you are still relatively close to the territory of the Protoss. It would be even better if these Protoss troops launched an attack, and they could directly search for the God Stone lock pieces from them. On the contrary, you can also go to the territory of the Protoss to find fragments of the God Stone. It's still too far behind. Now the God Stone fragments on my body are almost empty again. Why? Too difficult. Right now, I still need a lot of Godstone fragments to buy promotion cards, so as to fully enhance the combat power of my army. Relatively speaking, this is the top priority. As for the other ones, they are nothing. Right now, it is very difficult to raise the top 10 legions under his command, including the Judgment Unicorn Sacred Beast Legion, to the high-level Saint Venerable Realm. This is not easy. If it were put in the past, the 10 high-ranking Holy Realm legions would have been able to beat all dissatisfied. But now, no. It's really not possible, the difference is too much. After all, the opponents we encounter now are often the existence of demigods. With this major premise, high-ranking saints are sometimes cannon fodder. After all, I still can't stop. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, looking at the location of the Protoss territory, his eyes were shining brightly. Divine System of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3727. There is endless wealth. Brother Fang Fan, are you not leaving? Seeing you like this, I miss this place very much. Zhou Qiuyao leaned forward, and then said with emotion. Tisk. I know why Fang Fan is unwilling to leave. Why? It's because I can't bear to part with his beautiful wife of the city lord. Bai Piaojian laughed out loud. Now is not the time when Bai Piao begged Fang Fan to let him enter the small world of Shushan Pavilion to find Yaya. Now this guy has become smug again after he came out. This guy, after all, is such a virtue. A wave of bells and whistles. I don't know what to do next. But what is certain is that if he continues to do so, the situation will collapse sooner or later. When begging for help, he is as humble as an ant, but after begging, he turns his face and is ruthless. That's it? Nothing. Just like that, sooner or later it will be completely crushed. Forward. Tour, you don't really miss the wife of the city lord of the Protoss, do you? Teacher, although beauties are good, but we also need to know how to restrain ourselves. At the beginning you hooked up with the wife of the city lord of the Protoss by means of extraordinary means, mainly for the purpose of gathering information. But now, there's no need for that at all. All aspects of this have been fully grasped. So this can be calmed down. This stuff, it's nothing, it's really nothing. Hey, a hero is sad for a beauty pass. But Tour, you have so many confidant friends by your side, it's not bad for that one. Taishaji made side-talking remarks, and then reminded him very tactfully. While talking, Grand Uncle Ji couldn't help but take a look at the Yingying and Yanyan around Fang Fan. There were 4 or 5 of them around now. Grand Uncle Ji could still speak in a subtle way, but Shui Wanren, the deputy head of the Guangming Academy, was already gnashing his teeth. Damn it! That's it? Keep playing? What's the matter? Isn't it enough to have concubine Xiang? Isn't it enough to have Sisi? You have already enjoyed the blessing of being equal to others, what else do you want? Humiizi outside, you can just play around. Are you serious? If you stay here because of those foxy girls, I'll be the first to say no. Shui Wanren is like a firecracker now, and it will explode at one point. At this moment, while talking, he was panting frantically, and the numbness gradually came into place while speaking. Too difficult. Met such a scumbag. Not worth it, not worth it? Why? Husband, you really fell in love with the wife of the city lord. Concubine Xiang looked pitiful to me, her eyes trembled slightly as she spoke, her thoughts were fluttering, and the smiles on her face grew more and more. Not much else to say, this time my thoughts exploded. Stimulate. Fresh. I like it again. Probably just such a special feeling. If you dare to go, I will go too. Humph. Who is afraid of whom? Chu Sisi gritted her silver teeth and glared at Fang Fan viciously, as if you were a scumbag. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched slightly, and his eyes drifted away. Damn it! This feeling is not right. The sense of bells and whistles is superimposed in an all-round way. This. That's it? What will happen next? Can you stop for a little while? Let's slow down a little bit, okay? A headache, a real headache. His thoughts gradually became messy and his brain was buzzing. The more he thought about it, the more ferocious his expression became. There was nothing wrong with it, but after such a flicker, wouldn't this matter follow? How to act next is actually the most important thing. This wave looks quite hip. I can't hold on, my mentality is still broken. You guys think too much. I didn't even consider this level. No need, really no need. This. Why is this? Fang Fan smiled wryly and sighed silently. It's a lot of gaudy things, as for what? Let's stop, okay. If you hadn't reminded me, I wouldn't have considered this level. It's too much to think about. I stayed here simply because I felt that the products of the Protoss were more abundant. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, and then revealed the truth. Etc. What do you mean? What do you mean the Protoss has more abundant products? Explain, explain. Then what? I don't quite understand. Good guy. This tossing. Shui Wanren's eyes suddenly lit up, as if he suddenly thought of something, and then his face was shocked. You kid don't want to loot the city of the Protoss, do you? Do you want to repeat the same mistakes? Do you still want to get fragments of the sacred stone under the guise of spying on the military situation? The guy Bai Biao has been selling rare treasures around for the past 2 days. All kinds of weapons, special treasures, etc. I've seen it all. These things are not from our side, they should all come from the Protoss. I didn't pay much attention at first, but as Bai Biao sold more and more high-end items, I realized that you ransacked the arsenal in the Protoss city. You guys are really brave now. You kid has a lot of bad intentions, don't give up until you reach your goal. Is it, or are you still thinking of coming to this wave? Let you stop even if you don't know how to stop. In the end, if something really happens, I will feel comfortable in my heart. Really are. Don't you know how to be safe? The mumbling voices gradually increased, not much else to say, this time the feelings gathered in place, and the thoughts broke out in an all-round way. The more you think, the more your ideas run wild. Listening to the broken thoughts from Shui Wanren, Fang Fan couldn't help digging his ears. Too difficult. It feels like there is a voice in my head that keeps stirring back and forth. That feeling is absolutely amazing. Inexplicably, I feel that consciousness is about to be suppressed. Fang Fan boy, how many more votes do you want to go out for? This can be. Bai Biao's eyes lit up, and when he said this, he became more energetic. Isn't this fun? Gradually, the infinite brilliance flickered in the pupils, and the sound of breathing became extremely rapid. If you go out and get a few votes, it will represent the fragments of the God Stone and the Star Core to a certain extent. Bai Biao basically has no resistance to these two things. Are you booing too? How can the city of the Protoss be so easy to loot? For the first time, it might just be luckier. But can this luck always be so good? Have you considered this? If something goes wrong, how will we deal with it then? Don't you have any clues in your heart? Shui Wanren stared at him, basically what he wanted to express was already in place. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3728. The noise gradually increased. In the hall, noisy discussions can be heard endlessly. Fang Fan and Bai Biao naturally want to stay here, Stay here, this is not a big problem. However, Shui Wanren's words tended to let Fang Fan return to Yuanji God City to practice. Tai Shiji's attitude was somewhat ambiguous. On the one hand, he also wanted to make his disciples safer, but at the same time, he felt that he couldn't be cowardly. So it's kind of confusing right now. My thoughts are messed up, I don't know how to express myself. Danger is also a source of motivation. Without danger, how can progress be made? Opportunities are hidden in danger. This truth, don't I need to say more? So, it's not a problem at all. Fang Fan shrugged, then said calmly. For it. I think what my apprentice said makes sense. Cultivation is to go against the sky. If you want to gain a future, what is it to be cowardly? My generation of cultivators should face up to difficulties. Fight to the end with blood. Only in this way can we show endless explosive power. Feeling coming. Right. That's it. That's how it should be. I support my apprentice. Call. Tai Shiji licked his lips, and the corners of his mouth were raised as he spoke, and endless energy gathered all over his body. The familiar crazy Tai Shiji is back. You. This is talking to your apprentice, why did you come here again? You guys know how to hold back. Do you know something will happen? Why? You really don't know what to do. I often walk on the shore, how can I not get my shoes wet? At that time, if something happens to this bastard Fang Fan, you will regret it. The discussion was good, you are holding back here. The corner of Shui Wanren's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but glared at Tai Shiji and said. From his point of view, it is better to be safe at this time. At the very least, the risk factor must be controlled. How do you deal with the crisis? After all, the understanding of the Protoss is only on paper. There are still too many unknowns flashing in front of my eyes. With thousands of thoughts, feelings also increased. Can't help but sigh leisurely, then suddenly sigh. I believe in my apprentice. Haven't you experienced so many dangers before? Isn't it okay? Shui Wanren, everything is fine, but you are a little too prudent. It's okay to be moderately prudent, but if you're a bit too prudent, what's the point? I don't want my apprentice to be as timid as you are. My apprentice is an indomitable existence. Grand Uncle G patted his chest, and while talking, the arrogance on his face was beyond words, and gradually, his complexion gradually became rosy. With thousands of thoughts rushing, it seems quite exciting at the moment. If you feel this way, tell someone more. Teacher, next time you remember to go to the city of the gods, remember to take me with you. If you encounter any danger, I will block the knife for you as a teacher. We are not afraid. Tai Shiji patted his chest, the arrogance on his face was beyond words. Come on. You're not even a demigod. Just know how to talk big. Why? Do you think the city of the gods is really so easy to break into? Although your cultivation level is higher than your apprentice, if you really go to the god race, you will definitely die in less than 10 minutes. Wu Meiling, deputy head of Guangming Academy, rolled her eyes, and then couldn't help but complain. From her point of view, I think this is too real. Tai Shiji wriggled his lips, wanting to refute, but swallowed the words again. Thinking about it, it feels like this is the case. Oh shit. Too difficult. My brain is messed up. What's going on? All the fuss, what the hell is going on? Is it fun to hit me? Snort. I have to find a chance to break into the demigod realm. Hey, I don't know what's going on in this era now, I don't always feel that the demigod seems to have no cards at all. Grass. Now this is too curly. I can't take it, I really can't take it. For the first time in his life, Tai Shiji felt the urgency of being promoted. It's just that how can a demigod be promoted so easily? If it was that easy, demigods would have been flooded long ago. For it. What is the key to being promoted to the demigod realm? Fang Fan raised his eyebrows and said curiously. Half-god, to put it bluntly, in this realm, you can enjoy the offerings of believers. If you want to successfully advance to this realm, you must first be able to absorb enough power of faith, so that your physique can be changed so that you can accommodate and bear the power of faith. If the body is changed into a body of faith, the bottleneck of the demigod realm will almost be broken. Those believers who are loyal to the true God, if the true God takes care of them enough, it is possible to change their body into a body of faith, so that they can go unimpeded in the demigod realm. Hey, that's why so many high-level cultivators are rushing to serve the true God, and rushing to join the major temples. What do you really think they believe in? It's just a shortcut. After all, it is too difficult for ordinary practitioners to accommodate their beliefs. This road has always been difficult to walk. It's a little difficult, it's really a little difficult. The sound of emotion increased, Shui Wanren narrowed his eyes, and then gave a comprehensive explanation. That's why there are the most powerful demigods in the major temples. Comparatively speaking, the power of faith in the major temples is sufficient, and it is easier to temper the body of faith. For those casual cultivators who don't want to rely on the major temples, life is more difficult. Purely relying on themselves, this road is like a bush of thorns. Shui Wanren shook his head, feeling more and more emotional. The power of faith. The essence of the demigod realm is faith. Tempering the body of faith. For it. In that case, it's actually not that difficult, is it? The power of faith, isn't it how much you need, how much is there? Fang Fan nodded, and then said seriously. This wave is really good right now. What's the meaning? I don't quite get it. What nonsense are you kidding again? The power of faith, those demigods can only temper a little bit, and it's not enough for their own use. If you want more power of faith, you can only attach to the major temples and pledge your allegiance to the major true gods. This thing seems to be very common, and ordinary people can generate this power of faith, but it is not something ordinary people can grasp. You bastard, you don't have much to say. Shui Wanren shook his head, and then sighed. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3729. What I said, is the truth. The power of faith, isn't this thing a big grab? Fang Fan shrugged, and then slightly opened the small world of Shushan Pavilion, where the power of faith derived from hundreds of clans was about to condense into liquid. Simply not too much. Fang Fan waved his hand, and then hundreds of strands of power of faith overflowed. Fang Fan waved his hand again, another few hundred wires. In the end, I didn't feel very strong, so I simply pulled out hundreds of strands of power of faith. A strand of faith is equivalent to 100 strands, and a few hundred strands equals tens of thousands of strands of faith. Immediately, the entire room was surrounded by the power of faith. Good on. The look of disdain on Shui Wanren's face disappeared, replaced by shock. Is this too exaggerated? Good guy, can it still work? Wouldn't it be nice to stop a little bit? This tossing and tossing is crazy, okay. My thoughts are messed up, and my brain is about to burst. Nothing. Get lost. Am I dreaming? Did I come to the Temple of the Alliance of Light? How do you feel that the strength of the power of faith here is stronger than that of the Temple of the Alliance of Light? What the hell is going on here? As a demigod, Wu Meiling is also very sensitive to the power of faith. At this moment, she lightly parted her red lips, and while speaking, her lips trembled uncontrollably, and a different idea flashed deep in her heart. Everyone's eyes gradually focused on Fang Fan, and at this moment their faces showed solemn and shocked expressions. My Lord! God Lord! Your most devout believer has once again felt your breath. God Lord! The mysterious girl Lena, who was brought out by Fang Fan from the Hall of Merit, could not help but crawl in front of Fang Fan at this moment, then made various special gestures, muttered to herself, and her eyes were extremely penetrating. She probably also felt the power of faith here, so she made such a move. She has not felt the afterglow of the true God for too long. Her family, passed down to her generation, does not know how long it lasted. The initial feeling, the excitement are difficult to express in words. 2 lines of hot tears flowed down her cheeks, and the surge of emotion deep in her heart made Lena's heart even more excited. What's the situation? Why do I feel that something is not right? This. What about playing? Ah. With so much power of faith, unless it is a true God, others are not qualified to fiddle with it. Fang Fan, you bastard, don't lie to me, quickly tell me, are you a real God or not? Yes, that's right, hey, just make it clear. I have doubted many times before, and I think you are the real God. It's just that you have been denying it before. What about now? How can you still deny it now? The truth is right in front of you, you can't deny it. The iron-blooded truth. Can I stop calling you a bastard now? If you are really a true God, then I must wear the honorific title. Your Majesty Fang Fan. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, licked his lips and was completely shocked at the scene in front of him. While speaking, his gaze was raised, and the sound of breathing gradually became rapid. Everything was obeying this surging heart. The extreme feelings in the inner world gathered together, and the brilliance in the eyes became more and more. It would be a lie to say that there is no feeling at all. At this moment, there is only endless tremor in my heart. Is his son-in-law who rides a dragon fast a true God? This is not the first time such signs have been shown. Many times. This trend happens time and time again. Fang Fan has been vetoing this all along, so it's hard to say. But now? How to veto it now? The facts are in front of you, you can't veto it, you can't veto it at all. The facts are established at the moment, and I won't say much about the others. It is already stable as Mount Tai. I also feel that student Fang Fan has the talent of a true God. Speaking of which, our Guangming Academy has produced a true God. This. Uncle Ji, you have accepted a true God as a disciple. You are promising. Wu Meiling never liked talking too much, but at this moment of excitement, she couldn't help but make her own declaration. For it. This, actually, I never denied it. Why? What are you making such a fuss about? No need, really, no need. I told you a long time ago that my apprentice is invincible. Don't say it's a true God, even if it's a God King, it's okay. After all, this is my apprentice. Uncle G held his head high, and while talking, the blush on his face was beyond words, and the sound of his breathing gradually became rapid. Thoughts gathered in his heart, and his words were full of arrogance. It's so refreshing to have a promising apprentice. Now Fang Fan has become the center of the audience. Everyone focused their eyes on Fang Fan one after another, and the excited look shouldn't be too real. Fang Fan twitched his lips, his eyes swept around, wanting to say something, but he was indifferent. Damn it! This. That's it? It's an old topic again. Whenever something weird happened, he began to speculate on his identity. In Fang Fan's memory, this has happened at least 7 or 8 times. Why is this? If I'm a real god, Am I still here? Still struggling until now? As for running around and working hard for those fragments of the divine stone? What do you think? I have told you countless times, but no one believes it. Every time I say it, it's the truth. Calm down. Hey, I'm really tired. I also got these powers of faith by chance. Well, it can be understood that I have a special magic weapon that can gather and generate the power of faith. Didn't my master just say that he wanted to sprint to the demigod realm? I heard you say that the most important thing to sprint to the demigod realm is the power of faith, so I summoned these powers of faith. Can these powers of faith shape the body of faith? Can it help my master become a demigod? Is it useful? If it is useless, I will take it back. Fang Fan shrugged, then said calmly. It's such a headache. If we keep going on, what kind of trouble is going to happen? Stop it, it's good for everyone. It's really hard to keep pestering. It works. Of course it works. These pure powers of faith are not only useful for your master's promotion to a demigod, but even for a demigod existence like Vice Palace Master Wu and me. Good things, all good things. There is no impurity in this power of faith, it is so pure. This is much higher quality than the power of faith in the Temple of the Alliance of Light. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3730. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, was talking and then nodded one after another. The blush on his face was beyond words, and his lips trembled slightly as he spoke. Immediately, Shui Wanren narrowed his eyes, frantically sucking the power of faith around him, and his face gradually showed a cheerful look. That expression, that appearance, it's not too real. Very real. Feelings are taking off in full swing. It's quite interesting. Thoughts are messy, and thoughts are also stabbing in an all-round way. It's such a taste, let's talk to someone. The feeling is coming. It turns out that this is the feeling of using the power of faith to break through the demigod realm. Hey, I've always broken the steps by myself before, and I have no direction at all. But now that you are in such a strong power of faith, doesn't this feeling follow? Not bad, the taste is good, refreshing and graceful. Extremely interesting. Tut, tisk tisk, take off, take off. Hey, if this trend continues, I will become a demigod in a few days. The demigod is like that, I thought it was so difficult. Uncle G raised his head and chest, and gradually drifted away. The words she said also seemed extremely proud, her eyes flickered, her expression fluctuated, her eyes narrowed slightly, and her whole body seemed to melt instantly. It was quite different from the complaining look before. Okay. Don't be cheap and act like a good boy. Cultivating in such a pure and strong power of faith will indeed be of great benefit to your promotion to demigod, but it's not as exaggerated as you said. You can break into a demigod in a few days? Can you stop bragging? Who was there just now to abuse and complain? Do you think you can do it now? Take it easy, extreme joy begets sorrow. Shui Wanren couldn't help sighing as he looked at Taishiji's appearance. This guy is still the same as before, still such a dishonest look. So many years have passed, and it seems that nothing has happened. How should I put it? In fact, sometimes I get used to it, and that's about it. Master, tell me the truth, how long will it take you to become a demigod in this environment of power of faith? If this is feasible, wouldn't it be possible to spawn demigods in batches? If we can elevate all the instructors in our academy to the semi-divine realm, the safety factor of our Guangming Academy will also be greatly enhanced. Fang Fan put forward a hypothesis. If this assumption can be implemented, the benefits are self-evident. I just don't know how likely it is to be able to implement it. This I feel that I have the potential to cultivate. In at most 3 months, I will be able to touch the bottleneck of the demigod realm and break through it in one fell swoop. 3 months is enough. However, it is necessary to create an environment where the power of faith is abundant every day. And if you get used to this kind of atmosphere, suddenly one day this kind of environment rich in the power of faith disappears. It may have a greater blow to your cultivation. Either you don't cultivate in the power of faith from the beginning, or you cultivate in this environment to the end. Anyway, it cannot be interrupted. A period of interruption will cause a big problem. Taishuji also gradually became serious, pondered for a while, and then spoke out all his conjectures. 3 months. It's okay. This environment full of faith is naturally no problem. You can create a relatively closed secret room. Then fill this secret room with the power of faith. Wait until it is almost exhausted, and then replenish it. Deputy Palace Master, this strategy can be implemented. You call all the Supreme Saints from the Optical Module School, and train as many demigods as you can. The foreign enemies of the god race are ahead, and those inside us are also watching. At this time, our Guangming Academy can't sit still and wait for death. Naturally, it is necessary to gather all the strengths in the whole body to carry out this matter to the end. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, then sighed from the side. The situation became solemn for a while. In terms of mentality, you must also completely collapse. This is a big plan. Building demigods in batches is very exciting to hear. Etc. Why? Fang Fan, bastard, I don't want to hit you, but this matter is far from as simple as you think. Take it easy. The things involved in this are more complicated. If you don't understand it, there will be problems. Do you know how much power of faith would be consumed by a Supreme Saint practicing in such an environment full of power of faith every day? Letting one person cultivate in it is already very remarkable. If there are too many people, the power of faith that needs to be consumed is an astronomical figure. That number makes people feel crazy and surging. No, absolutely not. Dangerous, too dangerous. Don't be careless. Why? Even if you have a mountain of faith, you have to empty it out. It's because the power of faith required to be promoted to a demigod is too much. So the Temple of the Alliance of Light is only open to the faith room for those who have made special contributions or are about to be promoted to demigods. Opening it once consumes too much power of faith. It would be great if you could use it in broken ranks, but daily practice also consumes the power of faith. Too extravagant. This matter is not practical. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, conducted a systematic analysis, and what he said was clear and logical. Fang Fan wanted to interrupt several times, but he didn't. Then he silently listened to the Vice Palace Master talking endlessly. Tired of listening, Fang Fan opened his mouth and couldn't help yawning. Tired, really tired now. There was a sense of fatigue all over his body, as if someone had beaten him up. This time I can tell who I feel more about. Very complicated. Seeing Fang Fan's sleepy look, Shui Wanren's face darkened involuntarily. Good guy, can it work? Just so unwilling to listen to me? Ah! Didn't I say a wise saying? Isn't it true? Husband. Concubine Xiang patted Fang Fan aside, telling Fang Fan not to go too far. Her father was still talking excitedly, but you rejected it? What's the matter? Finished. Fang Fan continued to yawn. This tirade is really hypnotic. The power of faith or something, I can't use it up. Deputy Palace Master, just tell me, how much power of faith is needed to cultivate a Supreme Saint to a demigod? 1,000,000 strands. Thousands of strands. 100 million is fine, it's not a big problem. Fang Fan shrugged, and said frankly, he still has this bit of confidence.